Chic. It's a word that's been chewed up, flattened, repackaged, and served back to us so many times that a lot of people think chic simply means messy bag, short nails, tabby flats, having a signature color, having a certain journal. Thank you, TikTok. And to be honest, I don't totally disagree with this. It's just one side of the story. Because the truth is, chic isn't just a certain style category, it's a sophistication of the self, of the person. True chic is a way of thinking, a way of noticing, a way of carrying yourself that all shows up before your clothes do. So instead of giving you another surface level checklist, we're going to be breaking down the 4 fundamentals of chicness. Let's get into it. Stage 1, the most important stage of all, is the attitude. Byung-chul is a South Korean-born philosopher and cultural theorist who describes modern life as an achievement society, and most of us as achievement subjects. We've absorbed a quiet pressure to constantly improve, do more, know more, refine more, optimize every corner of our existence. Even our personalities become tasks. Even rest becomes something we try to do quote unquote correctly. So life turns into an endless checklist and we become projects instead of people. Not because we're ambitious, there's nothing wrong with ambition, of course, but because we're conditioned to measure our worth through our output. And the result? It's this familiar modern condition, exhaustion that's wrapped up and packaged in a sort of performance. A life lived as an ongoing self-audit. When we look at chic in its rawest form, it doesn't have much to do with clothes. It's the moment that you stop participating in this performance of self-optimization. Han would call it a refusal of the internalized demand to constantly improve. So when we look at the most chic people, we see that they're not frantic. They're not trying to justify their existence with this perfectly optimized life. We see that their essence is steady, it's grounded, and it's self-possessed. So this is where the essence of chic is derived from when it comes to the topic of chic. The psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott gives us a very useful way to think about this without moralizing it. He believed that play is not a luxury. It's not this childish indulgence. It's more so a space where the true self lives. So without play, we don't become serious adults. We become adaptive ones. So according to Winnicott, when play disappears from our life, what takes place is this performance, and not in the artistic, fun way. What tends to happen is, for a lot of us, society starts to dictate the direction that we go in. It starts to dictate our characteristics and the way that we behave so much more. And it becomes being an adult and just taking care of your responsibilities, paying your bills, getting what needs to be done. And that's it. That's where it stops. With the absence of third spaces and the rise of parasocial relationships, and most people getting their media from, social media, this theory becomes reality very, very, very quickly. Rather than something like chic coming naturally, we take to TikTok or we take to Instagram to understand these things that make us chic, like a hair clip and don't get me wrong, these things definitely do make you more chic for sure. But what we know for sure about fashion is that fashion is about wearing the clothes and not letting the clothes wear you.
Here's what I find authentically chic. For the people that just naturally give off a chic vibe, it's just ingrained in the DNA. I think it's so chic when people have a bunch of books scattered around their house. They have it on a coffee table for guests to read, or for yourself when you need to have a break from work or eat your breakfast and coffee. The way that books look stacked up in a room are so cute, even if your room is messy or not. I love the girls that wear big belts. If you like to wear basics, you can throw one on to elevate your outfit. They are the perfect staple as well as statement piece. You can wear it going to the office, getting coffee, hanging out with friends, literally any situation. I'm so jealous of any person that finishes their journals because I think that is the hardest thing to do, and I think they are so authentically chic. Like the final boss daughters love having a bunch of memories in the journals, and I love to see it. I also think it's so chic when people use their journals basically as mood boards. And the people that can finish multiple journals within a year, oh my god, I envy you so much. One of the chicest hairstyles any person can have are cornrows. They just look so good, so clean, and so model-like. You can pair them with flashy earrings. Literally any person wearing a minimal outfit with cornrows is the chicest person to me. And the real authentically chic girls have a capsule wardrobe, consisting of a bunch of basic staple pieces that are neutral and they can switch around. These people value quality over quantity, and they'll wear the same outfit in different fonts until they die. And each outfit looks so minimal, but so effective.
You can do the hair tuck, you can do the short nails, you can do the tabby flats, but the truth is, if you're not really embodying the essence of what it is to truly be chic, then I guess it becomes more of a performance, and the person or the people that you may be trying to perform for, if they are maybe more switched on, especially from a fashion sense, they can detect that pretty quickly. A large part about chic is this perceived effortlessness, and effortlessness is such an interesting and funny oxymoron, especially when it comes to fashion. What it really is effortlessness in fashion, you know? I guess it's more effortless when you have the wardrobe, when you have the clothes there, and whatever you pull from is going to be good because you have such a great selection. So I guess in that sense, it becomes a little bit more effortless. A lot of the most stylish people, yes, there is an element of effortlessness to it, but there is also a lot of strategy to it as well. There's a really interesting quote that I want to read to you guys from a fellow friend and fashion YouTuber and fashion commentator, Shania Ra. She describes dressing up as a fundamental act of self-experimentation, but also self-care. She says, "I care about how I look," which I don't think we're meant to say, but I care. Dressing up to me is an opportunity to be experimental and roll the dice. It's the idea that the next outfit could be the best or worst you've ever looked, and there's a thrill in that. Putting this into practice is another thing entirely, but it doesn't have to be a high stakes setting for you to look your best. In fact, the whole ideology about getting dressed up is to seize every surrounding, big or small, as a backdrop for your finest attire. Dressing up should feel like your highest level of presentation in that moment. That's a great quote, and Shani is one of the most stylish people that I know. She's one of not just stylish, but she is a real-time embodiment of this element of chic, and you can see it come through in her style because she's not trying to, give a perfected version of herself. She brings in the actualities of her life, of being a mom, of doing the school run, of how she looks when she's doing the school run, of how she looks when she's with her son and when she's with her partner, when she's with her family, and how she balances work. And you see all that coming through in her outfit. And she also brings in her stylistic taste and it gives it character. That is chic. It's the opposite of trying to prove that your life is meaningful, because if you are alive, your life is meaningful because you are here. So what else do you really need to do apart from indulge in the things that make you who you are as a person? Some of you might be thinking like, oh my God, this is way too psychological and woo-woo for me, but chic is a psychological condition before it becomes a visual one. True chic starts with an attitude that allows the self to exist without any further justification. Let's talk about taste. Taste is often framed as preference, what you like, what you don't. But in reality, taste is something that is trained in a way. It's learned slowly through your environment, through class, education, and exposure. French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu called this habitus, the internalized set of dispositions that shape how we see the world and what feels natural to us. Taste then becomes a social language, a way of signaling where you belong and, just as importantly, where you don't. Dominant tastes present themselves as being neutral, timeless, even obvious, with anything outside of that being classed as vulgar, too much, or just not chic. This is a very subtle but powerful process, because it shows us how social hierarchies perpetuate themselves without having to directly say that they exist. Raf Simons' first collection for Calvin Klein Fall 2017 is one of fashion's clearest articulations of this phenomenon. Coming off the back of the 2016 presidential election, Simons entered American fashion not as a native, but as an observer. Where American designers often mythologize the country from the inside, Raf approached it as someone who had long studied Americana from the outside, first through music, then through youth culture, and then through ideology. It is the unique beauty and emotion of America, he said of the collection. But what gave the show its weight was the tension inside that statement. When we look at the music, the casting, the silhouettes, they all carried themes of alienation, of sedation, and lost love. Familiar American symbols were present, but stripped of comfort. We had varsity references, uniforms, workwear, cowboy iconography. All these things that are typically tied to American identity were subverted and reframed to feel uneasy and sort of estranged. And I think the most interesting thing about this collection and why I wanted to reference this for this video is the timing. The presidential election in the US had revealed a very violent but obvious tear in America's social fabric, one that many people either didn't see or didn't want to see. Simons' collection didn't resolve that fracture, but it made it a little bit more visible. It reflects the environment, Simons wrote in the show notes. All of these different people with different styles and dress codes, the past, Art Deco, the city, the American West, all of these things and none of these things. Not one era, not one thing, not one look. It is the coming together of different characters and different individuals, just like America itself. Interesting, because we fast forward, 8 years later, with the same presidential candidate winning again, and we see a lot of the things Raf talked about and Raf was referencing in fashion in 2017 showing up again right now. And almost this kind of like notion of people being surprised of this difference in American society, being perplexed that it's so vast and so stark. This difference is so stark between people and between classes and between social structures. People are surprised that it's so stark, but 8 years later, nothing has really changed. So this collection is almost just as relevant as it was then today. Raf placed multiple habitus on the same runway. Different dress codes, different class signals, different masculinities. None of them were presented as superior, nor were they flattened into harmony. That friction that we're talking about remained clear. So Raf really gave us a masterclass in social commentary here. I mean, calling it social commentary probably isn't even that accurate. It was more like a diagnosis. He shows us that taste isn't just aesthetic, it's also institutional. It's something that's taught in schools, it's enforced in the workplace, and it's enforced in present day masculinity. It decides which bodies feel legitimate in certain places and which ones feel out of place. I know. Some of you guys are watching this and you're like, hang on a second, I thought I clicked on a video about like the 5 stages of chic and just how to be more stylish. Why is this going to like, why is this now a political and social commentary on classism and and American politics? Gotcha, bitch! Well, sorry to break it to you guys, but fashion is indeed political. So I guess what we've learned is to truly develop taste, it's not just to copy and paste. Oh, I rhymed there. It's to become aware of the systems that define that refinement in the first place. It's very, very important to know the systems. So when we extrapolate that and bring it back to the conversation and the topic of chic, it's not necessarily about aligning yourself with those dominant codes to portray yourself as upper class. It's about recognizing them and deciding how, when, or if you will participate. So if your attitude is about how you relate to the world, your taste is about how you interpret the world, then your lifestyle is about how you show up in the world on a day-to-day basis. What we know for sure with the rise of this concept of frugal chic, something that's really trending at the moment with the younger side of Gen Z on social media, TikTok in particular.
The frugal chic Who is she? On the surface, she appears very luxurious, but underneath it all, she is very savvy about her money. Here are 5 things that characterize the frugal chic. Number 1, she has a timeless wardrobe. That doesn't mean boring, it just means that she has pieces that would last her years rather than seasons. She doesn't buy into fast fashion often. Vintage is her best friend. She would rather look through charity shops or vintage shops to find really cool, unique pieces, as opposed to just going out and buying the latest Zara must-have. Number 2, she keeps skincare and makeup very minimal. Not because she's trying to do the whole clean girl makeup trend, but purely because she doesn't want to spend too much on this area. She only needs very few products that actually work for her. She's kind of the belief that skincare is a little bit of a myth. Like, yes, some skincare products can help, but she would rather focus on sleep, diet, other than buying products.
Abundance isn't a prerequisite for a chic lifestyle. Chic isn't about having everything and having endless funds at your disposal to buy any type of fashion or any type of clothes or to buy your dream wardrobe, okay? It's not really about that. It's about clarity, emotional clarity especially. So knowing what you need and what you don't, knowing that very, very well, and then having the confidence to be able to live in that distinction without being overly swayed by marketing and products and your friends and people who tell you that you need these things to improve yourself and to improve your life and to make you valid, to make your existence valid. So it's about knowing and being confident with that, okay? Which is, it's not an easy thing to do, especially because humans, we're social creatures, you know? This concept of like keeping up with the Joneses, we play into that because we want to be accepted by our neighbor. Okay, we just all want to be accepted at the end of the day. Okay, so I really hope like when we're talking about these things, we're talking about very heavy topics here. We're talking about heavy topics here on a fashion video about being chic, but I mean, we just want to be accepted at the end of the day. When people demonize things like trends, yes, do trends contribute to, you know, overconsumption and unsustainability? Is that a word? Insustainability? I don't know what the word is. Lack of sustainability. I don't know. But when trends do contribute to those bad things, yes. But also trends show us what we're interested in. Trends tell us a lot about culture. Trends get people into fashion. So trends are not all that bad. There's nothing wrong with things trending. That's just how society tends to work. Things go around and they come around. Everything works in kind of like a cycle because that's just how we are, I guess, as humans. That seems to be how we're wired. So when we're talking about knowing what you need and what you don't need, this is where ideas like simplicity and self-care actually mean something. Not clean girl simplicity, but a sophisticated simplicity. The ability to choose quality over quantity, not just in what you own and your personal belongings, but in how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, and what you allow to occupy your attention. What you'll notice about chic people is that they move with a level of economy. When people talk about chic, they often default to French culture. This isn't accidental, because in many European societies, particularly in France, conduct and mannerism are not treated as something that's trivial. How you speak, how you greet people, how you show up in public spaces, these are considered extensions of a person's character. So elegance isn't just something that's visual, it's also behavioral. When you contrast that with American culture, for example, where efficiency often overrides grace, where speed is prioritized and anything slow is often deemed as, you know, unserious, a chic lifestyle kind of pushes against that, which I think is why it's trending so much right now, because it's really a reflection of culture and society, as we keep going back to. Fashion reflects culture, fashion reflects society. People do want to slow down. People do want to be a little bit more intentional. And we see that concept, we see the concept of chic kind of antagonizing. But this idea isn't uniquely French. If you look at Ubuntu, the African philosophy that translates to I am because we are, lifestyle is inseparable from community. The self doesn't exist in isolation.
Let me tell you, we have something in our African community, something that is very difficult to put into English. It is called Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the essence of being human. And it says a solitary human being is a contradiction in terms. I can't be a human being on my lonesome. I wouldn't know how to speak as a human being. I wouldn't know how to think as a human being. I wouldn't know how to walk as a human being. I have to learn from other human beings how to be human. We then say, a person is a person through other persons. And that we need this communal harmony if we're going to survive at all.
Dignity, care, presentation are not about individual status, but about respect for other people around you. So that's why in many cultures, getting dressed well for family gatherings, for communal events, it's not just about vanity. It's a form of care. It's a way of saying, I respect this moment, these people, and this shared space. This is why a lot of the most stylish people aren't the biggest consumers. I don't think buying clothes and buying things that you like, if you have the money to do it, is necessarily a bad thing. I think people should spend their money how they want to spend it. But it's also worth noting that a lot of the most stylish people, it's the couple that shares each other's wardrobe and interchanges clothes. It's the sister who raids her older sister's wardrobe and like steals her clothes. It's the friend who borrows a jacket and gives it back 1 year later. I guess what I'm really getting at here is that a chic lifestyle, when we're talking about a chic lifestyle, life itself does some of the styling for you. Let's just sit with that one for a second. So in stage 4, we're going to talk about the fashion. You've made it through all of the philosophical, political, sociological jargon, and now we're here for the creme de la creme. What can we actually wear? What can we actually wear? What clothes can we wear to actually look chic? What are the practical things that we can do to emulate this concept of chic through our clothes? Let's take a closer look. For a near perfect example of what chic looks like, it's Gracewell's Bonner Fall 2020. When we really look at this collection, we can see that it's not styled in a way that's supposed to shock us. The collection is grounded in memory, it's grounded in community, and it's grounded in lived reference, all characteristics of chicness. What makes this collection chic from a strictly fashion perspective is restraints paired with confidence. What do I mean by restraint? One of the fundamentals of Gracewell's Bonner as a designer is tailoring. That is one of the things that she's brilliant at as a menswear designer. When we look at some of the best designers of all time, Lee Alexander McQueen, Yves Saint Laurent, Giorgio Armani, tailoring was a fundamental part of their game.
To me, the company, before I come here, lacked that direction a bit. You know, you couldn't really identify what the Givenchy look was. It's because Hubert Givenchy was such a fine tailor, it's better that we stick to the tailoring side.
I think he's already done a lot with the house because Givenchy have had a lot of press. It's a more difficult thing.
This is the Bet Lynch dress. And we also treated it, bonding plastic over the top for raincoats. So you get the whole ensemble. Okay. We have a universal language, although I can't speak French. You know, as soon as I start working with them, we know instantly the way I move my hand.
So when it comes to the topic of restraint, when I think of restraint, I'm thinking of discipline. We see how the coats sit cleanly on the shoulder. We see how the trousers fall with intention. What's beautiful about this collection in particular is that in contrast to this very disciplined and structured tailoring, we see an element of ease. We see blasé, and that's apparent in the sportswear. element. We see track pants throughout this collection paired with trench coats. It's more of a softened structure mixed with the tailoring. We see trainers that interrupt tweed. We see knitwear that clings close to the body beneath these more traditionally formal layers. So it's elegance that allows itself room to breathe. When you really look at it, the balance matters. Chic often lives in tension. It lives in this negative space. So what do I mean by that? In this collection in particular, English tailoring meets Caribbean ease, which is the essence of Grace's design philosophy. These formal codes meet everyday movement. When we look at the hair and makeup, that's equally important. We see makeup and hair that is very minimal, it's very calm, and it's almost neutral. It's not there to announce. It allows the wearer to exist comfortably inside the clothes. What Grace Wales Bonner does better than most is embed history without turning it into a sort of costume. We see Jamaican diaspora, we see British masculinity, we see family memory, we see community, but we don't see an over explanation of it. One characteristic about chic is when you look at someone that is perceived as chic, we assume intelligence. It's implying that the person that's looking at you, that's looking at your outfit, also knows what chic means. It's a very, very intimate form of communication. This is what quiet luxury tries to emulate, but this is real. This is a real design. This is real fashion. And one thing that Grace does beautifully is that she doesn't have to shout her references out, but it's a reward if you do notice them. So this is where chic becomes really, really clear. This is why I wanted to bring this collection as an example, one of my favorite collections from Grace Wales Bonner, because we can see that chic really isn't about the logos or about how much you're spending, but it's really about that coherence, which is something that we've been driving home throughout this video. It's a combination of detachment, cultivated taste, and a lived lifestyle, combined with stylistic choices that highlight all of those things in a very cohesive way. Let me know down in the comments, what does chic mean to you? What characteristics contribute to a chic style for you? What does it mean for you? What are some things, you know, and maybe it's not anything that's really that grounded in sociology or in you know, psychology or any of these things. Maybe chic for you is simply just seeing someone wearing a very, very well tailored tweed blazer, for example. Maybe it's something more simplistic. What is that for you? Leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe to my Substack. I am now writing out a lot of these very jumbled thoughts, and I'm publishing a lot of these ideas, maybe things that are a little bit too complex or things that I can't really talk about here on YouTube. I talk about a little bit more in my writing. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe for more videos just like this, and I'll see you guys very soon. All the best.